Here are some factors or some elements you need to look out for when going in search of locations. These are actually factors I have neglected at the time in my career, and there are also things that I have tried to work on and I have seen a very big difference. So these are factors to consider when choosing or scouting a location. Number one is distance. Distance is very important because if you're shooting a no budget or a low budget project, you want your locations within the same environment, not something you would have to travel, moving your equipment and cast and crew over to maybe a different city or something. So just look for locations that are within. Consult your family members, friends, and see which one within can give you a location that would best fit your story. Try as much as possible not to go too far when looking for locations, because travel time would suck your production and then make you not meet up shooting schedules. So it's best to just shoot within. Look for spaces that are not locations that are not far from each other and from your working central point where you know everybody will meet. Don't go too far, because when you go too far, you start spending travel time and all this budget for transportations. Remember, time is money, and when you don't have money, you have to see how you can work within a specific time and knock it off. Number two is appearance. You must always watch out for the appearance of those locations. Note, colors matter a whole lot. I did a project that I really paid attention to production design, and I can tell you color matters a whole lot. You must pay attention to the appearance of the building, and color is number one on the appearance list. What kind of color does it carry? Hope it's not going to be too shouty or more possibly too distracting, or maybe just standing out and conflicting with other props and costumes within that location. You must pay attention to the color of the walls in that house. Very important. Number three among the list of factors to consider while scouting for location is space. Space is very important, because you wouldn't want to arrive your location after you've secured a location, you've kept it down, you moved your crew and cast, and they arrived there and there's absolutely no space for even the camera to stay and shoot. You need a location that has space, a lot of space, because there is a belief that expansion means expensive. We're trying to see how we can shoot a low budget film. We don't really need to make it look like an absolutely low budget thing. So if you can get a location that has wider space, more space to work, that will help boost the value of the production. You actually need a location that would give performance space so that the actors can possibly move. Think of blocking, because when you think of blocking, you're adding value to the motion picture you're actually trying to do. So you need space for that performance. You need space for the actors to operate within. And then also you need space to create depth and dimension in your shots, because the key to creating depth and dimension is distance. You need your subject away from the background or away from every other props or subject within that field of view. So you would always want to move your subject away from the background, and therefore creating depth between the subject and the background. And that can only be achieved if you're shooting within a location where there is space. If you are scouting for a location, pay attention to space, because this helps the cinematographer achieve excellence in his job. Also, number 4 on that list is potential setback. This is actually a factor that many people do not care. They just think, okay, when we do this, we feel everything is actually going to work. Things don't work like that. You need to make sure you've paid attention to details, and make sure you've paid attention to things that could actually be potential setback on set. There might not be things that would delay before, but maybe as we arrive, we couldn't shoot. We have to wait for some things to come in, or have to wait for some authorities to approve, or one thing or the other. So you really have to consider what are those potential things that can actually set back the production from shooting at the right time we are supposed to shoot as we have arrived on set. So I'm actually going to mention 4 things I feel are potential setbacks for production location based on experience. Number 1 is approval. This is we arrive on location and then we have to stand outside for like next 1 hour or 2 hours or 30 minutes. You really need to make sure while securing the location and giving precise time that you would arrive, somebody, either yourself as a location manager or someone in the production team, has to find himself there and make sure he has secured and held the location down and open for access when the crew and cast actually arrive. And then the next thing would be sound. Where could the possible annoying sound come from? Pay attention to that. Think of the generator. How far is the generator from the house? Think of every single thing. This is Nigeria, so we're really not working with solar. We're working with generators, which is very noisy, and you need to pay attention to where those generators are. So you must consider how noisy is the environment, how often do bikes or cars or horns come alive in that area? Is there an airport around there where we will be hearing plane flight and all that? Just consider the most important or the nearest sound noise that could disturb the production during shoot. As a location manager, this is also important. Again, number 5 factor to consider while choosing a location is properties. Properties are very important. Well, depending on what kind of film you're shooting, depending on the budget on ground, you need to consider what properties are already available within that location. Note the colors of the props, note the kind of chairs that are there, the pictures or artworks on the wall, colors of almost every props within that house. You just need to note what kind of props are available there, because these properties will actually help the props man. The ones that are not accessible and available there, they can actually bring them in, and the ones that they have there, they just track them off the list.